welcome to your full moon in Pisces reading for September 2020. I hope you're well and that the Leo new moon treated you well. We're here to look at the energies for the upcoming 2 weeks for the waning moon cycle, and we know what that means. It's all about culminations and release work. So let's get into that and see what wants to come through. Now, as you've probably noticed, I don't have my usual cards with me. I'm trying something a little bit different because my geomantic cards, the ones I've redesigned, haven't come from the printers yet, they haven't arrived. So what I'm doing is I'm using the Illuminated playing cards. There's a solar and a lunar deck. You may have seen them if you've seen the love readings that I've done recently. So I'm going to use them to populate the chart. I'm going to follow what's called sect in astrology, and this is basically following the lunar and the solar placements, or the sectors of the chart that are traditionally assigned to the moon and the sun. So the lower half of the chart, from the first through to the 6th house, is considered to be lunar in nature. So this is more kind of personal energy, it's more private, and it has to do with things that are kind of closer to home. And then the solar half of the chart is the upper skies, because the 1st and the 7th house are literally the line of the horizon. Here, this is the more kind of public sphere of life, and it has to do with the more kind of social and public aspects of life, such as career, friendships, and so on. So let's get into your reading and see what wants to come through. Interesting. Okay, so let's start with the positions of the full moon itself. So this time around, it's going to be sitting, it's going to be straddling your 2nd and your 8th houses. So these are both houses to do with finances and resources. The 2nd house is about your finances and your personal resources, so it tends to be about your skills, about your sense of worth, as well as earned income and possessions that you own. And then the 8th house tends to be about possessions that you co-own or that you share with, usually with one other person, but not always. So that's going to be where the emphasis is. Now, the moon will be here in your 2nd house, and the sun in Virgo will be here in your 8th. It's interesting that, well, what I should mention as well is that Virgo, the Mercury will be in Virgo, so it will also be kind of constellating in this part of your chart, and sort of just before and just after this full moon, Mercury will be making a series of positive earth trines to the outer planets in Capricorn, so we'll get to that shortly. But let's just start with the energies we've got here. So it's interesting, we've got Pisces, the moon in Pisces in your 2nd house, and the card that's come out is the Queen of Cups. Now this card also in this particular deck doubles as the Empress, and the Empress is all about the harvest. It's about growth, it's about abundance, it's about fertility, it's about that sort of wonderful kind of Mother Earth Gaia type of energy. So it does look to me as though things are looking up for you when it comes to money. Perhaps you have applied for a new job, or you've been working on a side hustle of some kind, and it's meant quite a lot of graft and not a lot of reward in the past. But now, we're coming up to the full moon. Things look as though they are going to come to fruition when it comes to your money. Now, this could also be about skills. So if you've been investing in kind of upskilling during this period when most of us, haven't been able to travel or commute to work, it could be that you've been investing in yourself, and this is definitely about to pay off. If we, if the Empress is anything to go by, there's definitely a sense of satisfaction here of hard work paying off, which is wonderful. And then opposite in the 8th house, where the sun will be in Virgo, we have got the 7 of Wands in reverse. So this suggests some kind of if not defeat, possibly like a legal defeat, but it could also be a sense of feeling defeated around joint finances. So maybe you were collaborating with somebody, or you had shares in a company, something of that ilk. Maybe things didn't quite work out the way you hoped they would, and that may be why we've got some kind of decision here with this this Justice card that's appearing twice, here in the 6th house of work, and then again in the 11th house of groups and kind of professional associations and friendships. Now, interesting that in the 7th house we've got the King of Swords, which also doubles as the Emperor. So you can see we've got the ram-headed figure here, so this is associated with Aries, the Emperor. So it's possible that you went into business with somebody who was in a much more powerful position. Maybe they were the ones holding all the cards, and you feel as though they got the better end of the deal, and you know, maybe you're kind of having to weigh up whether you want to continue to be involved with this particular person, or with this job, because it may be that they aren't very good at compromise. It's, you know, the Emperor tends to be kind of my way or the highway kind of energy. So it's possible that on some level you're kind of feeling like, I don't really think this suits me anymore. Maybe I need to rethink, walk away, look for something else. So of the two cards and planets, it does look as though the moon is working more in your favor, you know, than the sun. But that could just simply be because of whatever is happening, you know, in terms of Virgo season. So yeah, I think let's not sort of rain too much doom and gloom here. All I will say is that when it comes to the House of Legal Matters, as well as things like publishing, foreign associations or companies, education, spirituality, that type of thing, we do have death in reverse. So this suggests some kind of change that needs to happen that isn't happening for whatever reason. There's some kind of stalemate or impasse of some kind, or you're afraid potentially of change in that area, and it may have something to do with you know, with this 8th house, but equally it may have something to do with the Justice cards that we got here in your 6th and your 11th houses. Now at the full moon there are a couple of nice aspects happening to the other planets between, you know, from the luminary. So the first is a couple of positive aspects to Uranus in Taurus, and this energy for you sits in your 4th house of home, family and roots. So here we've got the 3 of Cups, which is quite a nice energy actually. It's kind of a it's the energy of sort of celebration, of reunion, of happiness, and kind of a light-hearted, bubbly kind of energy. You can see 3 people kind of you know, toasting, possibly, you know, with some bubbly in a glass. So it does look as though if you've been separated from family, maybe there's some kind of family reunion that you have to look forward to. I mean, certainly Uranus is it's going to be retrograde, so this does have links to the past, and of course, you know, family ties run deep and go back into the past. So it could also be that you're meeting up with members of your family that you didn't know you had. So say, for example, you've been doing a little bit of genealogical research and you've discovered some long lost relatives. Maybe you are kind of meeting up with them for the first time, and it looks like it'll be a happy occasion. Certainly these are about positive changes when it comes to a positive Uranus aspect. And then the other set of aspects that are worth noting are some trines, some earth trines between Mercury here in Virgo, and of course Mercury is exalted in Virgo, so that's worth mentioning, to Capricorn, the planets that are in Capricorn, which are here in your 12th house. So this is Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto. They will all be in your 12th house. And here we've got the 3 of Wands, which is wonderful cooperative energy actually. So it's interesting, it's a complete kind of anathema, it's a complete opposite to this energy here. So I kind of think this is more to do with the sun, as I say. This I feel is a male figure. The sun is often a male figure, possibly somebody that you work with, because it's usually connected to the 7th house, so it's somebody that's either a spouse or business partner of some kind. Could be a boss, but then it's not usually. Bosses are kind of here, and we find something else here, but anyway, we'll get back to that. So these trines are all about making positive changes or positive news coming in that is going to be sort of like developments, momentum, progress, particularly related to perhaps talks or discussions that happened before the planets retrograded. So around about kind of May time is what I'm feeling. It's kind of like something's coming good now, again from the past, because those planets here in your 12th house are retrograde. Now, the 12th house is interesting. It can be about institutions like libraries, asylums, prisons, hospitals, that kind of thing. So it may be that you work in that area, and that's why we've got the 3 of Wands here, because this is all about cooperation, and usually in a kind of, or collaboration, but usually in a kind of a work sense. It doesn't have to be, though. It can be creative, but there's certainly a lot of enthusiasm around it. You can see at the bottom here we've got a whole lot of tools that have been used to build this teepee, and in the background we've got the sun coming up. So it's a very optimistic card. It's looking forward to a positive outcome, and I do feel that that is what you have to look forward to. So, if perhaps things didn't work out initially here in this area, perhaps over a contract of some kind, it does look as though things are going to make a turnaround now with those earth trines. So that's between the 29th of August and the 3rd of September. So that's really positive. So going back to this King of Pentacles here in your 10th house. So this is the area of career, fame, and honors. And here we've got the King of Pentacles, actually, which is, it's interesting. I mean, in terms of the court cards, it's similar to the Emperor, but it's more kind of down to earth. It's kind of more nurturing is how I want to put it. So this is somebody who is mature, who is successful. They've kind of reached the top of their game as far as career is concerned. They are financially well off. They're also very generous. So this could be a new boss. It could be somebody in a position of power who can help you, so like a mentor, for example. And yeah, so if things have kind of not panned out as far as this person is concerned, or this 8th house kind of joint venture or resource, and this can also be things like tax, bank loans, inheritances, alimony, that type of thing. It looks to me as though you can call on this person for help. Now, the other way that you can read this is that this is about you kind of coming into a position where you are kind of reaching the top of your game in terms of career, and you're feeling you're about to kind of get a promotion, or you are about to realize some achievement that's been kind of a long time in the making. And this may relate again to that 2nd house moon where we've got the Empress, because it's kind of similar energy. It's very fertile, nurturing, abundant, a kind of a win-win sort of an energy, as opposed to the Emperor, which is kind of like, as I say, it's all about him. So it does look as though there are definitely some positive developments on the horizon when it comes to career. And look at this. We've got the Queen of Pentacles here in your 1st house. So this is you. And then we've got the King of Pentacles in your 10th house. So I feel as though definitely there is some kind of partnership, because these are the two, the King and Queen of the same suit. So this is a good match. It's a true pair. And I do feel that because this King of Pentacles is here in your career sector, that this is potentially a very positive, constructive, lucrative, enriching and rewarding relationship of a business nature. So what about love? It seems to be all work and no play here. I can hear you Aquarians, single Aquarians, wanting to know, is there any kind of new love coming in? So it's possible, if you're not already in a relationship, if you're not already married to somebody like the Emperor, then I do see potentially movement forward here in the 5th house of new relationships. Here we've got the Chariot, or the 7 of Swords. Now, I tend to read this as a chariot, which is about forward momentum. Sometimes it's also about travel. So it could be that you are going on a holiday of some kind, doing a little bit of traveling for pleasure, and you know, maybe you'll meet somebody kind of while you're on holiday. The other way that this can work is that you know, maybe you've been in a stalemate situation with somebody that you've been seeing you know, for some time, and you know, in which case this Emperor here could be a romantic partnership, but perhaps, you know, things have been at a standstill recently because you don't think that they are respecting your boundaries, possibly. And you know, if so, we do have the Sun here in your third house of communication, so it does look as though you know, if you value yourself, this Empress here, because she is the true counterpart, of course, to the Emperor. It's the Emperor and the Empress. So if you value yourself enough to see yourself as equal to this Emperor, then I think that things, you know, have the potential to, you know, for things to improve, particularly through communication, because here we've got the Sun, which is usually, yes, it's in the third house of communication. It's also about our kind of mental outlook. Can sometimes be about a message coming in, but I think on the whole here, we, you know, the reading is predominantly about business and career. So yeah, I hope that's been helpful. Let's pull you a final advice card before we end the reading. Yeah, I do kind of, you know, just thinking about that Emperor there. It's, you know, it's possible that somebody you were in a relationship with was a bit domineering or controlling, and you've kind of had to sort of step up to the plate with that Empress energy in your second house of self-worth and kind of valuing yourself more. And you've had to be quite clear about how you expect to be treated. And because, you know, sometimes the Chariot can be about forward movement, but also self-discipline. So it could be that you've had to put your foot down a little bit, in which case the Chariot there could, you know, could mean momentum. Equally, this could be a family relationship, but I don't really think so. The Emperor's normally quite a sort of stern energy. They aren't really, they don't give much away emotionally. I seem to have the cards upside down. Okay, let's see. Oh, interesting. I think one of the other signs got this as well. When I lean toward love, I am led. So isn't that interesting? We've just been talking about love and romance. So that's your message from Spirit. So I think, you know, if we think about where have, yeah, I think this probably has to do with family, because this is one of the few cups, hearts. We've got the Queen of Hearts here, and we've got the three of Hearts here. So I do feel as though this is about kind of when I lean towards self-love, and when I lean toward love in family relationships, you know, you will go in the right direction, and that could be what the Sun here is talking about. Right, let's get you a few trinkets. So first one for that Pisces moon. Interesting. So you've got the coffin, which is often about ending, so similar to the death card. So I do feel like something needs to end. It's possibly some kind of belief system that needs to go in order for you to perhaps see yourself in a new light, to value yourself more. So I think that's about the end of low self-esteem. Because Pisces can be quite self-sacrificing, and they do often suffer from low self-esteem. So I think it's kind of saying enough of that. Interesting. So for the Sun, you've got the Sun. Fabulous. So yes, I think this is definitely saying, you know, remain optimistic. don't think that all is lost when it comes to sorting things out here in your 8th house. So you know, if it comes to contractual arrangements, joint finances, as well as things like intimacy and trust and those kind of immaterial resources, remain optimistic that things can work out for the best. Okay, then let's get one for Uranus, your ruler, here in your 4th house. Oh, wow, you've actually got the house. So this is emphasizing kind of home, family, what's familiar, what feels comforting, etc. So things are definitely improving on the home front. And then let's get one for that 12th house, those planets in Capricorn. Something's stuck. Interesting. So we've got the Tower here. Now in the Lenormand, it's not the same as in the Tarot. It's often about like advice from experts. So getting sort of expert advice. This could also be about contacting your guides. Look, it's, I mean, interesting. It's a similar shape to that teepee. So I think it's maybe about working with your spiritual guides, with your kind of your inner wisdom, your intuition to guide you, and that maybe that's why you're a little bit blocked here in your 9th house. Maybe you need to do a little bit of meditating or kind of getting in touch with your spirit guides. Maybe they feel that they can't reach you at the moment. So interesting reading, Aquarius. Do let me know if it's resonated in the comments, and if you've enjoyed it, love it if you would hit the like button. Thank you so much for all your likes, shares and subscribes these last few months, and wishing you all the best for this upcoming 2-week period. It does look very interesting and potentially very constructive. So yeah, catch you again in a fortnight.